Welcome to Sports News. The Confederation of African Football (CAF) has announced that the winner of the ongoing African Nations Cup in Equatorial Guinea will get $1.5 million. Now, the losing finalist at the biggest football showpiece in Africa gets $1 million. The other two semi-finalists will have $750,000 each. The 8 quarter-finalists are each guaranteed $600,000, while third-place teams in each of the first-round groups will get $500,000 each. Bottom teams in each group will get $400,000 each. In England, Liverpool defeated Aston Villa 2-0 to secure a third away league win in succession. Crystal Palace fought back from 2 goals down to defeat Burnley 3-2. Stoke City claimed their first league victory of the year with a 1-0 win at Leicester. Manchester United were rescued by their substitute as they battled to a 2-0 win at Queen's Park Rangers. Diego Costa and Oscar scored twice each as a first-half onslaught from Chelsea overwhelmed Swansea 5-0 at the Liberty Stadium. Christian Eriksen's late goal kept up Tottenham's Champions League hopes, and they beat Sunderland on Jermaine Defoe's return on his debut at White Hart Lane. Now, Queen's Park Rangers striker Charle and Manchester City manager Manuel Pellegrini have claimed the English Premier League awards for December. Austin was voted the Player of the Month after scoring 5 goals, including a hat-trick against West Bromwich Albion and 1 assist last month. He defeated Harry Kane of Tottenham Hotspur, Chelsea's Eden Hazard and John Terry, David Silva of Man City and Santi Cazorla of Arsenal. Pellegrini saw competition from Chelsea's Jose Mourinho, Man United's Louis van Gaal and Arsenal's Arsene Wenger to clinch the Manager of the Month award for the 3rd time. Now, Ajax Amsterdam claimed a 2-0 home win over Groningen as they eased back into action after the Dutch league's mid-season break. Ricardo Kirchner netted with the outside of his boot for Frank de Boer's side after 15 minutes, having been expertly released by the influential Lasse Schöne. Despite Groningen's best effort, a Johan Kappelhoff own goal late on made it 2-0 and sealed the points for the former European champions. Well, South Korea upset Australia by a 1-0 at the Asian Cup to top the Group A standings and secure a potentially easier path to the final. Striker Lee Kyung scored a perfectly executed goal in the first half to give his team a surprise victory. The win meant South Korea will play either Uzbekistan or Saudi Arabia in the quarter-finals. Oman beat Kuwait 1-0 to secure 3rd place in the group. Abdulaziz Al-Makabli headed in the winner in the 69th minute of play from a fine cross by Mohamed Ali Siabi. Rafa Nadal says he is not one of the favourites for the upcoming Australian Open. With the year's first Grand Slam set to serve off on Monday, the 14-time Grand Slam champion admits he will struggle to win the tournament. Nadal has played just a handful of matches since missing much of the second half of last season through illness and injury.
I don't consider myself one of the favourites here. No. Last year, yes. This year is a different story. So will be lying if I say that I feel that I am ready to win. Today, I don't feel myself ready to win. I cannot say it's completely recovered because that can happen when you compete, when you put your back under stress that can come back. No? So it's something that I'm not 100% confident yet.
And Germany's Martin Kemmer is on the verge of winning a fourth Abu Dhabi Championship title, having opened a 6-shot lead after 3 rounds. The US Open champion made 7 birdies in his first 13 holes during a bogey-free round of 65 to reach 20 under. Belgium's Thomas Pieters is second after a 2-under par 70, while world number 1 Rory McIlroy is tied for 5th on 12 under. Well, that'll be it on Sports News. The news at 10 continues in a moment.
Now we turn our attention to the foreign scene. And French President François Hollande has said that anti-Charle Hebdo protesters in other countries do not understand France's attachment to freedom of speech. But before we go there, let's come back here in Africa, where violent protests have continued in Niger, where at least 2 churches have been burnt in the capital, Niamey. The protesters are demonstrating against the French magazine Charlie Hebdo's cartoon depicting the Prophet Muhammad. Today's protest began outside Niamey's Grand Mosque, with police using tear gas a day after at least 4 were killed in the second city of Zinda. In the meantime, the French embassy has warned its citizens to stay indoors. Last week, Islamist gunmen killed 12 people at the magazine's Paris offices. 8 of them were journalists. Subsequently, attacks in Paris killed another 5 people, 4 at a Jewish supermarket. Meanwhile, French President François Hollande has said that anti-Charle Hebdo protesters in other countries don't understand France's attachment to freedom of speech. He was speaking a day after the satirical weekly's publication of the cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad sparked violent protests, including deaths in some Muslim countries. Demand has surged for Charlie Hebdo's first issue since 2 militant gunmen burst into its weekly editorial conference and shot dead 12 people at the start of 3 days of violence that shocked France. The magazine's distributors said that its print run had been lifted to 7 million copies, dwarfing its usual circulation of only 60,000. A senior commander of the Lord's Resistance Army, the LRA, has been handed over to the International Criminal Court, Representatives in Central African Republic, the CAR, and is expected to be transferred to the Hague-based tribunal in a few days. A one-time child soldier who rose through the ranks of the Ugandan rebel group, Dominic Ongwen, was amongst 5 senior LRA commanders indicted by the Global Court for war crimes and crimes against humanity in 2005. The LRA is notorious for massacres and has been accused of kidnapping children to serve as fighters and sex slaves during nearly 3 decades of violence. Ongwen defected from the LRA in late December and handed himself over to the Seleka rebels, who then transferred him to U.S. forces. There is heightened security in Belgium, where troops have been deployed to guard potential targets of terrorist attacks. This follows a series of anti-terror raids and arrests. Up to 300 soldiers will be mobilized in Brussels, Antwerp, and elsewhere. Meanwhile, the whole of Europe is on high alert after Islamist gunmen killed 17 people in Paris. More than 20 people have been arrested in Belgium, France, and Germany because of that. There are increased concerns about the return of young Europeans who've gone to fight in Iraq and Syria. And from there, the main news again. Political parties have continued to unfold their programs to woo voters in next month's general elections and have intensified their campaigns across the country. Some civil society groups have raised concern over campaign funding by political parties and candidates and have said that wooing voters with money may affect the credibility of the polls. The Lagos state government has issued an alert over the outbreak of bird flu, but has pledged its resolve to avert the spread. And fresh protests are broken out in Niger Republic against the French magazine Charle Hebdo's cartoon with churches set on fire in the capital, Niamey. That's it on the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Olumide Macaulay. From me and everybody else here, do have a good night.